Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, or for those of you returning, welcome back. So I thought I would have today's video be a little bit over what happened to me this past weekend. I went to Oprah's tour, and I wanted to kind of talk about it, like reflect on it, just like my takeaways from the whole tour. Um, So the original intention of me going to this tour was just to see Lady Gaga. Like that's the only reason why I went. So she was going to be at this event, and they announced it, and it just so happened that it was in Florida, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to this. Like I want to see this. So I've seen Lady Gaga like 5, 6 times, but this would have been the first time me seeing her like in a setting that was not a concert setting. So I was like really excited for this. So I planned to go to the Oprah tour, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought it was just going to be like basically, I thought it was going to be like a little Q&A with Lady Gaga. Basically, I thought it was going to be an Oprah show with Lady Gaga as a guest, basically. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had like extremely low expectations. Not because of Oprah, just because I just thought I was not going to like the event. I was ready to be let down, and I showed up to this event. I did not know it was going to be an all-day thing. I didn't realize the times were going to be from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I saw it said 9 a.m. is when the event started, but I thought that it was more of like a 9 a.m. to noon. I didn't realize it was ended at 4:30. So I was a little in over my head. So I convinced my friend. I said, let's go. We'll go see Lady Gaga. Whatever. Um, Sorry, my obligatory smoothie here. So I was super exhausted from the night before. I was like, I don't really want to go, but I'm gonna go because I want to see Lady Gaga, and I don't know what time like she's gonna show up. So I got to the arena around 9:30 ish, 9:15 ish, because I knew even though it said doors open at 8 and the event was at 9, I was like, I'm gonna be fashionably late. So I showed up a little bit later. I had convinced my friend to come. We had bought like box seats, and so I went to this event, and the lines were so insanely ridiculous, and they wouldn't let anybody bring any bags into the um, arena. So unless it was a clear backpack or a purse smaller than like this size, you couldn't bring it in, which I thought was a little bit okay. So I'm totally here for having those restrictions to make it a safer environment for everybody. But I thought it was a little bit aggressive for something that was going to be like an all day event. I feel like that was a little bit extreme. Just because we had to like leave our bags because my friend had brought his bag and we had to go all the way back to the car, drop the bag off, and then come back to do it. So that was the only thing that kind of sucked to get in. And they weren't consistent, even though a lot of people were saying like you won't be able to get in, you won't be able to get in. Somebody in front of us got in with a backpack, even though we were told no backpacks were allowed. So whatever. Now to talk about the event, we'll dive in. We walked in around 10 a.m. and there was a little. I'm not 100% certain what was going on, to be honest, because we kind of walked in the middle of it. It was like a choir that was performing, and they were just kind of singing songs. Oprah had not come out yet, so we were like, okay, it's a good thing we didn't show up early because we would have been sitting here for 2 hours waiting for Oprah to show up. So Oprah didn't come out till about 11. But before I dive into all of that, I'm gonna tell you that when I walked to my seat, there was this little bag on my seat. Every seat in the arena had that bag. So I'm just gonna go through what's in the bag, and then I will talk about my experience throughout the event. So in the bag there was a granola bar, which my friend ate. I'm so hungry. But so I don't have that here. They gave us little WW tortilla chips. This little pouch with a couple different. This is a Degree dry spray, so deodorant. This Love Beauty and Planet shampoo. It's a sulfate-free shampoo, and Vaseline body balm. So it was a cute little like care package that she had inside of here. And I really loved like this kind of burlappy look. That was cute. That's adorable. I love packaging, and that was cute. It had a pen that just says Oprah's 2020 Vision, Your Life in Focus. And it came in a little pouch. I took it out of the pouch, and then it came with this little book. I thought this book was just kind of like for show, but we actually had to use this book throughout the event. And then it came with a couple of Kohl's Cash coupons, a couple of restaurants that had some WW options, a WW membership, and this little card. I don't really know what this one is. Whatever Daybreaker is. They never really went over this at the tour. And then a little itinerary of what's going on. I'll use this to kind of make sure Oh, okay. Daybreaker was the dance party that was at the beginning that I didn't know what I was walking into. That's what that was. So they did promote that. So I'll use this as like a little going off thing. An itinerary for myself right now in this video. So Oprah takes the stage, she talked for a bit, and so the whole thing kind of started, the whole thing kind of started because she had invited some people from WW to come to her house, and they were on her porch, and they were having a good time, or whatever, and so she wanted to go take it onto a global scale. That was like her nice, in my opinion, her nice way of introducing this tour, because I definitely think she was like paid for it, and which is totally okay. Like that's her job. So, and I still showed up, and we still sold out. She still sold out in an arena, so she's doing it well. So she explains the whole thing about how she had some people over, and they were all on her front porch, and how she wanted to bring this to a much wider audience, because what they were talking about was very important to her, which I do actually genuinely believe that all of this is true. And one thing I did notice when Oprah was on stage, she's very real. Like when you're talking to her, it's very like genuine. And I think that I've watched Oprah, but there's one thing seeing her like on television and one thing seeing her in person. And even if it wasn't 100% like her, it felt like it was, which was awesome to see. So Oprah talks about her wellness journey, about how she got to where she was in her life. From like in the past, dealing with weight issues and dealing with like self-conscious issues, and I thought it was really touching. It was really sweet to hear all of this from her, and I did take away a lot of things from it. So then we talked about. So then we did we had a workbook exercise with the next thing, and it was called the What's Your Wellness quotient. So she made us all take out over our workbooks and then rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 4. So it was different things: mind, body, and soul, spirit. So like the first ones, just to give an example, I'm not going to go through all of them. So the first one was like emotions. So it was, I recognize what's in my control and what isn't. And then you say like 1 is not me at all. 2 is sometimes me. 3, that's often me, or 4, that's me. And so then you rate yourself on everything. So I take time to decompress. I try to be aware of how others are feeling. Then for like work, it was stuff like I care about the work I do, and I try to do it as well as I can. I opt to walk or take the stairs when I can. That's for movement. I'm open to new types of exercise. So we did all this, and then we had to add up what our total score was. So then what your quota means is, so if you're 35 to 69, there's lots of opportunity for focus and balance. 70 to 104 is, what wellness can be and aim for more of it. 105 to 124, with a few tweaks, balance can be yours. And then yours is, 125 to 140 is yours is a balance. Your life is a balance. Yours is a life of balance. How might you want to further enhance your balance and help someone else find theirs? So I think when Oprah said hers was like 1:30 or something like that, so she's already here. And she talked about, like, she was like, it took me a while to get there. So I think if I remember correctly, Oprah's friend Gail did it as well. She was in the audience, and I think she got one of one of was it 103? She was right in this range. I got 99. So I tried to be as truthful when I answered, because there are a lot of things that I'm implementing in my life already. Like, I decided that I was going to start implementing them, um, kind of the end of 2019, but really the start of 2020. And I didn't want to say that I was already there without actually exercising it. So I answered as truthful as possible, which I got 99, which put me in that bracket of, you know what wellness can be, and aim for more of it, which is true. I know, I do know what it is, and I just need to work harder on getting to it. So then they made us calculate what our three um, lowest categories were, and my three lowest were work, purpose, and relationships. Then we moved on. We did a little kind of quiet exercise where we were all quiet for like a minute, and it was actually like really great. It talked about like meditation and stuff, and how the silence is like really good for the body and whatever. Um, so I have now been practicing that in my life. Actually, I take about 10 minutes roughly every day, every morning, and I listen to meditation music every day, and I just kind of, breathe in, breathe out, and just settle in the quiet. I either go with meditation music, like calming, soothing sounds, or with like classical sounds. So one or the other. Um, and I thought that was really great. So when we're in there, being in an arena full of 15,000 people and having it be silent was kind of nice. Just to kind of feel that like there is a presence, even if it is silent. The next thing on the list was to set our intention. Um, so she had us do this exercise. I'm not going to go into it, this part. She had us do an exercise where it was something that you set a goal that you didn't reach. So I did. Then we talked about it. Then we talked about like why you didn't reach it, and be like fully honest that like, so the options were like that I was trying to prove something to someone. I was trying to prove I was good enough. I wanted to be better than somebody. I felt obligated. I felt guilty. I didn't think I had a choice, stuff like that. And then these intentions are examples of when the why of a goal doesn't match up with the truth of who we are, which is true. And I think that's why it didn't end up working out. And then we had to create our own wellness intention, which mine was that I wanted to have a balance throughout my life of both positive and negative energy to lead me to a more fulfilling life. Because truthfully, I mean, I'm not going to say that there isn't negatives in life, but I think it's kind of finding the balance of the positives and the negatives. Because you obviously want to lead a positive life, but I don't think that you could have positives without negatives. So we talked about that. And then we talked about that. We had like a little lunch break, and then we regrouped after about an hour, and we had like an afternoon session. Um, the first thing back from the afternoon was this Kinergy, Kinrgy. It was with Julianne Hough, and that was probably my least favorite thing in the entire seminar. Don't get me wrong, I like Julianne Hough, but it was just, so she's a great dancer and a great singer, great actress and whatnot, but I didn't like what she was saying. Like, a lot of the stuff that was said, kind of felt like it was just like random thoughts that popped into somebody's mind. I mean, I think she did a great job commanding the crowd. Everyone was standing up on their feet because they made us dance and stuff. It was just kind of so Kinergy. The whole thing about Kinergy is finding movement throughout the four elements. So it's fire, water, earth, and air. So we had to do like a fire dance, a water dance, an air dance, and an earth dance. So I mean, it was cute. She got everybody up on her feet, moving, which I like thought that was great. But I just didn't love what she was saying as she said it. It felt a little bit, and I was a little bit. That was the only thing that I was a little skeptical about throughout the entire seminar. Once I was in there, then we had the workbook exercise. We went back to the workbook, and we had a commitment contract. So yeah, so we had to create our healthy habits for each of the three categories that we needed to work on, and then at the end we had to create a contract for basically filling this in of like a summary of everything we had already written. I'm just gonna read my contract. So I said that I, Alejandro, will commit to a balanced lifestyle by focusing on work, purpose, and relationships, wellness. My intention is a balance on positive and negative energy in my life so that I can lead a more fulfilling life. And to sharpen my focus, I will build new healthy habits by taking a minute to breathe, knowing I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and practicing empathy versus sympathy. That one was like a big thing for me, just because it hits a little bit home. So the difference, I'll go into it very briefly, but the difference between empathy and sympathy. So empathy is basically like bringing yourself to somebody's level so that you can understand their mindset, and sympathy is seeing them as you are. Basically, is a better way of describing it. So sympathy is something that would start with like you would answer with somebody with like at least. So if somebody's in a dark place, you tell them at least there's this in your life, at least you're doing this, at least you have this. And I think like when you're in that state of mind, it's not going to help you feel any better. And sometimes being empathetic is just kind of acknowledging that they're at that level. I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you. So I don't want to get too deep into it because that's not my profession. I don't want to dive into something that I'm not 100% confident in talking about, but I do think that was a big thing for me. And I'll continue. So I will follow up with my mother at the end of this month to discuss my progress. And then I signed it, and then had my witness sign it too. That was the workbook. We then had Mindy Grossman come out. She's, I think, the CEO of WW. And she kind of talked about a little bit of a wellness effect and like kind of helping everybody. And then they brought out Tamala Mann, who, spoiler alert, is the #1 gospel artist of the decade by Billboard. And so she came out, she talked about her weight loss journey, and then she sang a song. Take me to the King, I don't have much to bring. And then finally, after all of that, we took a little break, about a 10-minute break, and then Lady Gaga did come out. And so it was very eye-opening to see that kind of conversation. It was very candid. They spoke very freely. So Lady Gaga talked about like her rape and PTSD and her fibromyalgia and how she copes with it. And it was just very interesting to hear some of these things come out of her mouth. And it was also very refreshing to hear like somebody that's, such a superstar being very open about all of her struggles, which I know we do get that. It's becoming more and more open within celebrities, but I feel like hearing it from her, just because I have a special attachment to her, it was very nice to hear that from her. After that, Oprah just kind of closed it all up, just talking about how to have our life like in focus and so basically I'm not gonna like lie to you and tell you that it wasn't like obviously it's sponsored by Weight Watchers, so that was like a big part of it. Well, not Weight Watchers, WW, but that was a big part of the seminar about losing weight. But I did think that the whole experience went in line with what I was trying to accomplish in the first place. With 2020 was just kind of how to deliver a better version of myself. I think every moment, literally in every waking moment, we die and are reborn, like every waking moment. So I think it's trying to make it that every time you are reborn, you're a better version of who you were in the past. And I think that was like a big takeaway for me, to just kind of leading a more positive life. I thought it was a really amazing experience, and I probably honestly would do it again. Yeah. So Oprah's tour is going on for I think another 14 shows. If you can get around to going, I highly suggest attending. It's very fun. I know it kind of kills a Saturday, but it's totally well worth it. Even if you show up for half of the experience, I think it's a really good way of getting to where you want to be in your life. and it's just a really nice experience. So she has some really good special guests coming up. I know Tina Fey is going to be there, and there's a couple of other people that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I definitely think that it's a tour well worth attending. The only thing that I will say, which I told my friend this too, is I calculated how many so the food that they give, like the food that you get, like a little voucher, and then you have to redeem it for food, and it's little Panera boxes, and the Panera, you get 3 ounces of Panera. It's fine, it's Panera, so most people like it. Well, that's what I got. I don't know if she's having that for every single show, but the only thing I didn't like is that the I just didn't like that everyone was just kind of throwing the boxes away. There was no like recycling option. I know I'm just one person, but when you add it all up, I calculated it was about like they're gonna have about, if there's 15,000 people at every show, for all of the shows there was like, I think there was gonna be 225,000 people going to this show, and that's a lot of boxes we're throwing away that aren't being recycled. And that was the only thing that I thought we could have worked on a little bit better. Lady Gaga talked about like our carbon footprint and everything, and how we can help the earth. And I just wish that we could have some way to also incorporate that into the experience that we were having. But apart from that, I thought it was a really great seminar. I did feel like I took away a lot of stuff, and I do think that it's something that I'm going to be practicing in my everyday life. And even now, I'm telling, like I hear myself like telling people like at Oprah's seminar, they told me like when you speak something, it's more likely to come true. When when you say it, you're more likely to put forth the effort. When you write it, you're more likely to put forth the effort. So it's stuff like that like I remember from the show that it's playing in my head, and I want to share that knowledge with everybody. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to kind of talk about my experience, my review, what I thought, what we could have fixed, and yeah, and I just thought it was a great seminar, and I probably would do it again. So I mean, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you guys leave any in the comments below, I'll answer any questions about the show. But until next time, stay positive, guys. See you later. Subscribe.